Hi there, this is Kellyanne with Church Windows. I think we're going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. I'm your presenter. Today we're going to be looking at the scheduler module, and we're going to look at how you can use scheduler, how you actually schedule an event and a recurring event. Before we look at that though, let me show you real quickly. Today's webinar, I am using one of our workbooks, which isn't required, but if you're interested in purchasing workbooks, or if you have the workbooks, I'm using one of these scheduler workbooks if you want to follow along. And that can be found on our website. I went to beginning up at the top and then just clicked on training workbooks. And here you can see all the different workbooks we have and the topics in each one. Right about the middle of the page here, what I am using today is the Scheduler 101. Whoops. And I'm starting on page 17 of that book if you are following along, if you have that book and you're following along. But if you're interested in purchasing any of the books, that is the book I'm using. And if we go back to the main page of Church Windows, we can see, let me get rid of the writing on there. Erase the drawings. There we go. If you look at the top here, we right now are having a workbook flash sale through Friday, May 18th, this Friday, all downloadable workbooks. That means you download it and you print it, not ones that we print and send you. But the downloadable workbooks, I believe those are normally $12 each. Those are only $5 each. So a big discount right now. Trying to get those in people's hands. So version 20 is out and everybody's learning that, and there's a lot of changes to membership, a lot of neat things added. So having those workbooks can help you learn it a lot better as well. But they're not required. Let's go ahead and take a look now at Scheduler. One more thing, if it's your first time using GoToWebinar, we did have the little presentation that showed you how to use that, but if you just got in the room right as we started, on the side of the toolbar there's a little red arrow you can click on to minimize or maximize it, get it out of your way, or then open it back up to ask a question. I won't unmute people for questions. On that GoToWebinar toolbar, there's a question panel, and you can go ahead and type your question in there, and Ross is in the room with me. While I'm showing you Scheduler, if you have a question, he'll answer that, but you might want to hold off on questions until the end because I might answer it as we're working through and I'm showing you what I want to show you. But then at the end, I'll open the floor for questions and read those out loud and answer them for everybody out loud. All right, let's go ahead and look at Scheduler. I already have it open just to save time of it opening up and all that. We're not going to look at any of the setup. That's already the first half of the book. We're looking at how you can actually schedule an event and then make a recurring event if you need to. And again, this is in Scheduler 101, page 17. When you open the screen, you see the calendar, and across the top you can choose whether you're seeing it by day, week, month, and so on, and then you can view by date, location, equipment, or person. Typically, what I prefer on mine is, and what we're going to do today is view the entire week, and we're going to view by date. And if you look at the book, tells us that in the upper right corner we have this calendar that we can use to move through using the arrows to move back or move forward to find the date we need. Or if we click the Go To button, then just to the right of that, there's a little box where we can type in a date and hit Go To again, and it takes me right to January 1st. Notice here we have Monday, January 1st. We're going to go to today, so I'm going to click the Today button. And there's two ways we can open an event. First, we can double-click on the time that that event is going to begin. If we double-click, then notice it defaults to set that event for an hour, so a specific hour-long event. Or what I prefer is we're going to make a Friday night supper club. Then we're going to make it a recurring event, and it's going to go from 4 until 9. So what I'm going to do is click on 4, and then I'm going to drag down with my mouse all the way to the beginning of 9 o'clock. And then I'm just letting go of my mouse and hitting enter on my keyboard. Notice that filled real quickly. You could see before it brought up the new event window, it filled that whole block of time. And if you look on my new event window, it says 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I prefer the sliding over and selecting the entire block of time you want rather than just double clicking on the start time. But if you double click on the start time, you can still edit your end time. It's just going to default to an hour. If you look at page 18, it has a screenshot of the block of time and the new event screen that we're looking at right now. And if we move to 19, we're going to look at how we actually create a new event. Now, I'm not going to keep my head in the book because a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm not going to keep my head in the book. I'm just going to work my way down the screen until we get to recurrence. So we're going to call this, first we're going to put in a description of our event, and that's what will show on your calendar. So we'll call it Friday Night Supper Club. If we wanted to edit the start date or time, we could. You could either click in the boxes and type, or we can click the little down arrow here and choose something from the calendar. With the time, you can click in the time and type, or you can use the arrows to move it up or down. Again, we're going to leave it as is. If this event is going to occur for the entire day, we can check all day event, and that blocks off the time and it will show as an all-day event on our calendar, but we just want this from 4 to 9. Also, you can set an alarm if you'd like for your computer to notify you prior to the event. If you do that, then you can set it to tell us 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, and so on. But you would have to have a sound to hear if it, when you had a noise going. Would pop up a message though to let you know. All right, if we move down to the bottom half of the screen, we have locations. We have some different tabs: location, contacts, equipment, categories, notes, and duties. And I've already gone through page 20. I'm going to look at the book to let you know what page we're on now. So now we're at 21, location. Now you can fill in as much or as little as needed for the different tabs across here. You do have to have a description, a start and end date, and a start and end time. But for all the tabs across here, you can fill in as much as you want, or you don't have to fill in any if you don't want. But I think the more you fill in, the more you know about the event. So to go ahead and add a location, we're going to click on Change Events Location. I know it doesn't show anything there, but it's nothing, so I'm going to change it. I'm changing it to something. This is going to take place in both the gym and the gym/kitchen area. So we're going to check off both of those, and then we'll click OK. Now, all of these are set up in the first half of the book. If you have the book, the setup of all of the location, contacts, equipment, and so on, those are done in the first half of the book and just in the upper left by clicking Setup. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we're not looking at that today. We're looking at the actual event setup. So I'm going to just say OK here. Also on this screen, on any of these tabs, well, not contacts, but most of these tabs where you set up things in Scheduler, you can click Setup right here on those tabs. And here's where you could click Add a new location, and save this if you realize in the middle of setting up an event that one of these little pieces that you wanted to add to the event has not been set up yet. You can do it right while you're setting up the event. So let's look. We're going to click on Contacts now, and to add some contacts, we'll click on Change Events Contacts, and that's top of page 22. The contacts are pulled over from your membership module. In membership, on their record, there's a little checkbox to use in Scheduler, and if that is checked, then their name will come across to Scheduler as a possible contact, or they could be assigned in charge of equipment as well. So we're going to pick Eric, and we'll scroll down and find Rob Oliver. They're going to help out here that evening, so we'll just add those two contacts and click OK. I double-clicked, but you can also click the name and use the left or right arrows. If I maybe don't want Rob, I can click on his name and move him back over, and then click OK. Equipment, we're going to click on that tab, and we're going to add some equipment by just clicking Change Events Equipment. They've told us they need 2 microphones and also a speaker set and a projector. So we'll check off the different things that they'd like and click OK. If we want this event to be in a category, we can click on that tab and then click Change Events Category. This is a building rental, so we'll go ahead and put that in building rental. Click OK. And let me turn the page. I am already to page 24. We'll add some notes. This is the first event. This is the first event they are holding. They are hoping to meet every month. So they're going to go ahead and we're going to schedule some recurring events because they are pretty sure they're going to meet every month. But that's what we're going to do after we get through these tabs. Duty tab, if you would like to assign someone in charge of a particular duty or multiple duties, we can do that here. Lower left, we just click on Add Duty. And that opens up a line where I can check here and click the down arrow, and from the different duties I've already preset, I want a building monitor. I just need one. If I know who it's going to be, I can click here on Assigned and scroll and find the person. Let's see, Steve Murray. He's going to be our building monitor. So we'll say OK. And once I've filled in as much of that as I want, or again, as little, you have to at least have the description, start and end date, and start and end time. Now we're going to go ahead and set this up as a recurrence because they've told us they would like to meet every Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the top, the button that says Recurrence. And this brings up the recurrence screen. It shows our start and end time and how long it runs. And below that, we see different recurrence patterns we can select. Now, depending on whether I choose daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, that will change what I see to the side. So here I could do daily every one day, or maybe I say, now this dot to the side, I have choices, and whichever choice I pick here, then I'll have certain, if I choose every weekday, then I'm not going to do the 1 or 2. I'm going to do every so many days, or I can say every weekday, or I can change it to weekly and say it occurs every week, or every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so on, and then indicate the days. We're going to choose for this monthly because we want it to be the third Friday of every month. If it was every other month, then I could do every 2 months. But I also, instead, I could choose monthly, and I could choose the day. And maybe they always meet on the 18th every month rather than the third Friday. So we have different choices for monthly. And then yearly, I can choose a particular month and day, or I can say yearly a certain first, second, third, fourth, or last day of a particular month. But let's go back. We're going to do monthly, and we're going to do the third Friday of every month. It's going to, now that we're not done, that's the recurrence pattern, we have to tell it how often this is going to, or how long this is going to last. So it's going to start on this Friday. We can either say it's going to end after so many occurrences, or we can say it's going to end by a certain date. Well, they've told us they're pretty sure they're going to run this for a year, so we'll go ahead and say after 12 occurrences, and then we'll click OK. So I have my event set up with all the locations, contacts, equipment, category, notes, duties, set up a recurrence for an entire year. Once I've set it up, now we see on the screen it says recurrence occurs the third Friday of every month, starting 5/18 and ending after 12 occurrences. Before we exit the screen, if I change my mind and I want to remove this, I could click delete or I could click cancel. We're going to go ahead and hit save. And there's a conflict. So let's turn to page 28, almost to the very end. On page 28, it tells us how we can have the program. It will let us know if there's a conflict with a location, equipment, people, or duties assigned to an event. If any of those things are occurring at the same time, or people are assigned at the same time, or location is used, or equipment used for 2 different events at the same time, then it's going to tell us that. So we can click on View, Print Conflicts to see. And it's going to tell us what day that conflict is. So on 6/15, so it looks like for our June Friday Night Supper Club, something else is occurring. So we can close this. I'm going to go ahead and save it anyway. But now with my calendar in the upper right, I'm going to click the little forward arrow, And then click on the 15th. Oh, and we see they also have noodles in the gym, right, from 7 to 9 in the gym kitchen. Let me hover on that again. They are making noodles. So if we've already realized if we talk to these, the people making noodles, we're going to be able to share the kitchen. They're aware the supper club is there, and they're going to try to, give them space and stay out of the way. So this conflict's okay. So we'll leave it on the calendar. But that's a nice little feature. So if you're scheduling something at the same time in the same place or using the same equipment or people, the program will alert you so you can go take a look and see what's occurring. Now also we can set conflict colors. It tells us at the bottom of page 29, and those colors will show at the top of the event. So we see it shows a little bit of yellow at the top. If we go to conflict colors, that tells me we have a conflict in location. So both of these events are occurring in the same place. All right. Actually, I finished early. That's amazing. Usually I talk so much I go over. We have plenty of time for questions. I think once you see scheduler, it's pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes scheduling recurrences, though, where there's 1 month has four weeks or 4 of a day, and the next has 5. Sometimes that can get tricky, and you have to schedule 2 recurrences. Let me go ahead and see. Are there any questions? Any questions about scheduling an event, or scheduling a recurrence? Do you have to have the scheduler open daily to get these reminders? I am not certain, Cynthia. I would have to test that and see. Ross, if you know the answer to that, or if you want to ask Robert real quick, you're sitting near him, and type that in, I can answer that for everybody out loud. But I am not sure. I have never been asked that. I would think it would have to be open, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. I'm going to try something. Oh, I'm going to wait and see. Instead, I'll wait and see. How do you add a picture, Sandra asked. Well, you don't add pictures to Scheduler, so unfortunately that's only a feature available in the membership module. So yeah, you can add pictures to the records and membership, and if you want to give us a call, we'd be happy to help you with that. But we're talking today about Scheduler, and unfortunately there is no way to add a picture. I mean, on your reports in Scheduler you can add a logo or a picture, but again, we're not really doing reports today. We're just talking about the event and how to set up a recurrence. Let me ask, how do they receive notification after selection? I don't know what you mean. If you mean assigning someone as in charge of a duty for an event or equipment, no, the program won't notify them of that. You'd have to let them know. Somebody said, I scheduled things, but a pop-up reminder does not appear unless the scheduler is open. And that would be my assumption, but I didn't want to just say, that's what I think occurs, but I would think you have to have scheduler open for it to let you know. Someone said, can you contact those you scheduled for duties by email from Scheduler? No, there is no email feature in Scheduler. You could print a report of the people, and then you could, use the membership module to bring those people up on a grid and just select them and then send them an email. But the Scheduler module is pretty simple, and it doesn't have all the neat bells and whistles. Maybe in the future they will, add some more things to that, but I know accounting and donations. Since I've been here, I've seen accounting be upgraded, then donations, and then membership. So maybe Scheduler will be in the future, but currently you can't email from Scheduler. Now you can email reports. I take that back. If I bring a report up, pretty sure, let me make sure. I haven't looked at that for a while. Yeah, at the top of the report, you can click on email and choose, what type document, and then save it, and then you could attach that document to an email to people. But it won't just pull up a list of people and email to them like it will from membership, no. All right. Some other people, I'm going to answer this real quick. Some ask, can you link to a website? No. And can events be put on your calendar, printed for a newsletter? There's a report here that you can, but it doesn't automatically, go to your calendar. But you can, from your reports, make an HTML. If we go to print, we could export the document as an HTML document, which would be a web page type document. So if you did that and export as HTML, then that could be put up on your website. Now, it's not interactive where people could add things to it, though, or change things. It would just be a visual. All right, are there more questions, or did I miss any that Ross didn't get? Let me look back through them. So yeah, Carl said that's great that he could do the HTML. So just once you have the document up that you want, then just change it to HTML. You can make any changes here you want, and then it's going to ask you to save it to wherever you like. And then once you save it, then yeah, you can put that up on your website or do whatever you like. Or you can export it in those other formats that I put there. If you need to go, feel free to go ahead and exit the room. Just use the X in the upper right to close out. I know I'm now gone over a little bit, but that's okay. Are there any other questions? All right, well, if you're in the middle of typing, I'd go ahead and hit enter and then type the rest so I don't cut you off or end the webinar before you're done typing your question. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything coming in. You have a great day as well, Carl. Thank you. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and end today's webinar. If this was your first webinar and you didn't realize we have these, I encourage you to take a look at our webpage, our website. If you go to beginning, oops, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Beginning and free online webinars. My brain is not, it's foggy today. On the free online webinars page, this is where you can see all the different topics, and also it shows you what workbooks we use along with those, but those are not needed. But you can register for as many as you want. They're all free, so take a look at the topics coming up. And I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar then, and everybody have a great day. Thanks for attending. Bye.